I'm Sarah the Rebel.
And I'm MisfitsTamara.
And this is Woman Up Podcast. Yeah. If you're new here, this
Terrible
is a
horns.
show. I think our horns were okay.
I delight in the fact that they are not good. That's why I continue.
I disagree, and that's why we're good friends, because we have differing opinions about our air horns. If you're new here, this is a podcast wherein crazy feminist cat ladies talk about geeky stuff, like superheroes and dream catchers. I don't know.
Sure. We run down our favorite nerdy news. I'm dream catchers. It's cool. It's after Thanksgiving. We're great. We run down our favorite nerdy news of the week, and then we share our chick picks with you before diving into our main topic.
Yum. For returning fans, welcome back. Hello, we missed you. If you're new here, hi, how'd you find us? That's embarrassing. Shh, turn away. You can also listen to us on allgames.com or on iTunes. If you listen on iTunes, give us 5 stars. What else are you doing with your life? Nothing. Just do it.
To do it. And today, if you hadn't noticed, we have a guest.
What?
We have Andrea Letamendi.
Da-da-da-da.
Feel free to introduce yourself to our glorious listening and viewing public.
It was really hard to just stay quiet during all that. I wanted to do something, a cheer, a movement.
You
but
could have totally joined in.
No, you guys have a thing, so I was just trying to be on my best behavior.
No, we don't like best behavior.
You gotta break that out. No best behaviors here.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited to talk about all things geeky, and I have lots of things to talk about. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I love getting involved with Comic-Con panels and creative consultations, comic books, film scripts, all sorts of things. So it's a pleasure to join you.
Yeah,
It's so exciting.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we met because we were on a diversity panel together.
Oh yes,
3 years ago.
Many moons
a
ago.
while back.
It was a while back.
When diversity was a thing.
Well, yes, exactly.
Diversity became a hot topic.
Yeah. So, we're going to start off with the actual business.
What is our business today? Newsflash. Those are light flashes, like light bulbs. So anyone new listening, these are some of our favorite news topics that we felt like telling you about this week.
So, first things first. Justice
I'm the
League
realist.
Action. Also the realist. Justice League Action, which is the newest DC animated TV show, is going to be premiering in North America on December 16th. Yes. It's a 4-parter, and then it airs Saturdays mornings starting December 24th. So a nice Christmas Eve present for you all.
Right.
It's on Cartoon Network.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of the people who were involved in sort of the original DCAU in it. Like Dini's written some of the scripts. Burnett's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of it's all stars.
Good. Excellent. That's exciting. Yeah, especially because you see your relatives, you're all happy, you're eating all the food, and then about the 24th is around the time where you're like in the afternoon, and you're like, oh, cool. Been here, been hanging out.
Now you have Justice League Action. Have you seen anything?
I have not seen anything about it. I heard a little bit about this, and I mean, this is my thing. Like, I love animated films and TV, especially when it comes to Batman-centric or DC stuff. So I'm going to be all over this. 4-parter, does that mean that there's 4 episodes and then it's done?
I'm not entirely sure because their structure is a little different. They're 15-minute episodes because that's a thing that has been serving Cartoon Network very well. Pretty much all of their, like, Adventure Time's 15 minutes. Steven Universe tends to be 15 minutes. Sometimes it's 30. So I think they're using it so that it could be at half an hour, and then you could also break the 15 minutes out and, like, insert it in the middle of a day somewhere. So I'm not entirely sure if it's continued 4 parts, because they seem to be standalone episodes, but you never know. It could go either way, or both ways, regardless.
I'll take it.
Trying to look it up, but I found nothing.
Oh.
So, second piece of news. You know my girl from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. You know my girl Michelle. She's gonna be on Star Trek, yo.
Mm-hmm. I
have a lot of feelings.
Yeah, I saw that, and I just, like, I did a 30-second gasp out loud. I just was so
She's heard your throat.
Yeah, I just was like,
I think I tweeted in all caps, the lead, she's the lead.
Well, we're not sure if she's the lead.
This is me telling the universe
that she's the lead.
No,
yes.
she is the lead.
Right.
I don't want to.
Is she the captain?
She is a captain of a starship that has a Chinese name that I'm blanking on currently. But it hasn't yet to be clarified whether or not she is the captain of the series or a captain of the series.
Okay.
But
I've spoken into the universe already. There's no take backsies.
No.
You guys have to cast her as the lead now. That's just the rule. You know, I've loved her since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I remember like watching Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and being like, this woman is a star. Why isn't she in all the other things in America? Yeah. And America was like, we're good. We got Lucy Liu.
I think the first, right?
We got our one.
We got one.
We got our one Asian. We don't need others.
I think the first thing I saw her in was Heroic Trio, like late night on some like Channel 5 or something like that. And I just was like, what is this amazingness? And I just like, these three girls are kicking people in faces and they're superheroes and they have masks and everything.
And she's just got, I think, the kind of presence that I would love to see from a lead as a captain. Like she has an aura about her of calm command, and I would really, really, really like to see that.
I love her so much.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. I hope she is the cap. I realize there may be multiple captains, but she would be great.
I'm happy that this is like they're following through. You know, Brian Fuller. Because it was taking so long to get the production kind of started, he's not going to be running the day-to-day anymore. He's still writing a lot and overseeing it, but...
Right, so rumors are that the show is sort of very slow to get going.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the thing is. I kind of I've been purposely not keeping up on kind of the day-to-days on this one because I don't want to be like...
No, I've kind of been the same. I feel like we've been let down by so many different things that I'm like... Just come out and surprise me, Star Trek Discovery.
Just come and do your thing,
Be better than the last Star Trek show.
Enterprise. I love Scott Bakula, too.
Listen, I know a lot of people had attachments to Bakula, but just, like, everybody, even the clothes I didn't like. It was like, really? We wore gray? That was our first uniform? Like, this is how we show it's old? We didn't like colors? That was why.
Yeah.
Why? Put some clothes on.
The thing that always got me, I watched some of it, but I can never get past the theme song.
The what?
The theme song.
Yeah, the theme song's pretty bad.
The sort of 80s guitar riff thing, and I was like...
Right, it immediately set you up for the show, like, this is going to be some corny shit.
Yeah.
And then, maybe the show wouldn't have been as corny if you weren't expecting it to be corny.
And, like, you know, kind of like DS9 before it, apparently the last, like, couple seasons, like, past, I think, the first two, like, 3 to 5 or however many years it was on, like, apparently it was just like, oh, entry and this and that and the other thing, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm already out.
Right, I'm already out. Yeah, I hate when shows do that. You need to capture me pretty quickly. I'm worse than the average person. Most people, I think, will give shows like 3 episodes or so. I'm like, you get 1.
Yeah.
Good luck.
When I try to have people, because like the first 5 episodes of any like sci-fi series, it's like them working through notes, I feel like. So you give, either you can watch all 5, or you can watch the pilot in the 6th episode, or the 5th episode.
Oh, I think that Andromeda's first 6 episodes are great, and if you want to watch some good sci-fi that keeps it moving very quickly, go back and watch that.
Is that on Netflix?
I wish it was. I don't think it is. You probably should do what I did and find it on the internet and download the entire thing. It'll only take 3 days.
Well, it might be on Amazon if maybe buy it so they make more.
They'll never make more.
I don't know. I'm being optimistic.
Kevin Sorbo, man. I'm pretty sure.
Was he on Andromeda?
He's the main character.
Oh yeah. I only remember Keith Hamilton Cobb.
Yeah, Keith Hamilton Cobb should have been the main character. Yeah. If you've never seen Andromeda, you're very confused right now.
I'm confused. Okay. I do not remember this show.
Okay, so Andromeda was a show that was basically like a Star Trek-esque show with like, we're a group of people in space and we've got to accomplish this goal. Okay. So it was Kevin Sorbo, Hercules, as the main guy who'd been trapped in time for 100 years because of a black hole. Some like mercenaries find the ship, rescue it. He comes out of his suspended animation, and the whole universe has changed, but he's going to bring back the system Commonwealth to this unlawful place.
Wow.
And Keith Hamilton Cobb should have been the main character. Go watch it. It's great. The first 2 seasons. Don't watch anything else past that. Because then Keith Hamilton Cobb leaves, and there's no point.
I think I was confusing Andromeda with something else. No, I don't remember what it is.
There were quite a few shows in space.
Yeah, like, especially that time, like, that, like, syndicated,
there was some Earth one. Battle something, Earth. Yeah. There were a lot of shows that I watched bits and pieces of as a child. Let's talk about another thing that takes place in outer space.
Rogue One! Tickets go on sale Monday. Mm-hmm. So stoked. Are you excited?
So let me tell you a little mini story. My brother calls me. He's like, hey. And I'm like, this is weird. My brother doesn't call me very often. And my sister is even yelling at him in the background. Well, why are you calling her? Why didn't you use my phone? Just like, try to listen to my brother. Anyway, so he says, hey, December 16th is coming, and I don't know how to do this without you. Hmm. I have never watched a Star Wars movie without you. Like, you and I have been watching these together the whole time, your whole life. what are we going to do? I was like, well, this is a lot of pressure, you know, I didn't expect this kind of, I don't know. So then I hear my loud-ass sister in the background again, well, tell her to come to Oklahoma. So apparently my family's going to Oklahoma to visit my other sister for Christmas. God bless my other sister. I know she doesn't watch this, so I can say this, but Oklahoma is booty. It's a booty hole. I don't want to go to Oklahoma. Every time I've been invited to Oklahoma.
That's not your first choice, really?
I have said no. I love my sister a lot. I don't fucking want to go to Oklahoma. Come visit me, Candy. Anyway, so my sister's trying to hype up Oklahoma in the background, by the way, the whole time. She's like, we'll watch movies together. And my brother's just like, you're not making it sound better. It's shitty. Nope, you're not. Nope, that still sounds pretty whack.
Apologies to all Oklahomans.
My sister texted me. She's like, we're going to have a paint party. I was like, what's that? We buy paint and drink. Oklahoma, you're terrible. Anyway, so my brother's going to pay half my ticket.
Aww.
I'm going to fly to Oklahoma so that we can watch Rogue One together.
That's really sweet.
Good. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be that far-reaching. I'm probably going to go to the ArcLight.
Do you remember last year, like, the craziness of buying tickets online when they went on sale? The ArcLight, the AMC, the TLC Man Chinese, what is it called now? Whatever the Man Chinese theaters. Yeah. Basically, if you lived in Hollywood and or LA area and you wanted to see it opening night or the midnight before, 8 o'clock before, everyone was buying tickets at the same time, and the sites were crashing. And you, as soon as you get your credit card in, like you're putting in the last digit, and then it would do that,
and you're like,
or cycle back, or you'd watch the timer just like tick away.
You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm expecting that again.
I am too, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it like Sunday.
Yeah.
Just
well,
stay
that's the thing. That's the thing. If you waited, I mean, eventually we all got what we wanted. Right?
Yeah. No, it's okay, guys.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Just calm down. Just do it later, because I'm gonna do it.
Wow! Listen to this. Treachery, betrayal. I love it. Moving on. Our next section is called Chick Picks. That's us being chicks. Chick Picks are where we tell you about things by, for, or about women that we would like you to go check out. So for me, it's going to be the film The 13th. You can find it online by searching The 13th Film, and you can watch it on various online streaming services. And it's directed by somebody that Tamara is going to talk about next. So, we'll let that happen.
Well, Ava DuVernay and other female directors. A friend of mine, Myra, shout out to Myra, did a thing last year where she watched nothing but movies directed by women, and I think that's like a really cool idea, because it's not necessary, it's things that we notice but we don't think about, like how, like the vast discrepancy. I know. Well, you know, the royal we, maybe not the people in the room,
not we,
but the royal we. You know, there's 3% of films that came out this year directed by women, or something really like just depressingly tiny. So, you know, go support your some female directors, and you know, it's a whole new world of movies that maybe you may not have been hip to. A lot of them are indie films, directed video releases, so they might have gotten out of your
right. And if you go back a little bit in time, you might be surprised at some of the movies that were directed by women that you had no idea were directed by women.
Point Break.
Yeah.
Catherine Bigelow. She should have been a huge action star director. She should have been Michael Bay level, but. So that, and then also if you want to like also add non-white dudes, just generally non-white dudes. So any directors of color, any female directors of color.
That includes all of Fast and Furious. So go forth.
Yes.
Enjoy.
That's true. Shout out to Fast and Furious.
Star Trek Beyond.
Yes, Star Trek Beyond specifically. Yes.
The 8th Fast and Furious movie is called Star Trek Beyond, I believe. That's how that works.
Is it? I wasn't sure. I didn't know that.
I think so. They went to outer space. There was nothing else to do on Earth.
So now I really want Vin Diesel to play a Klingon.
I want him to just go be like, instead of jumping out of the plane with the cars, they just jump out of space with the cars.
Yes.
And then it's just, you know.
It's the mashup we never knew we always wanted.
Take it there. Okay. Did you have a chick pick?
I do. I have 3.
Burr.
I have a podcast, a novel, and a comic book to talk about. So let's start with a comic book.
Yes.
Okay. Motor Crush #1.
Yes.
Comes out, I think, December 7th. So I had a little preview copy. And the artist is Babs Tarr, and she's amazing. And of course, did Barbara Gordon or Batgirl.
Yeah.
A few issues back, and she has teamed up with Brendan Fletcher and Cameron Stewart, and Motor Crush is just amazing. It's this badass female character who is a motorcycle genius. Like, she races motorcycles. And it's sci-fi. Like, it just has already, just from the first issue, some amazing stuff.
These things sound enjoyable.
Yes.
Good. Yes.
And of course the art's beautiful because it's Fab Star.
Right.
So.
We'll put the link for that in the YouTube, and if you're listening on iTunes in the future, you just go to YouTube and find this link. You're missing out. Next.
Novel that came out earlier this summer is Heroine Complex by Sarah Kuhn. And actually, I think they mentioned in the book that movie you just referred to, the 3 superhero chicks.
Hero Trio?
Yeah, I think so. And it's basically, it's been sort of called The Devil Wears Prada meets superheroes. Like, super awesome. The lead character is an Asian American superhero, essentially, and she has powers, and she's like struggling with her identity, and it's funny, it's romantic, it's about friendship and relationships. It's awesome. It's awesome.
It's good. It sounds like it needs a movie too.
Oh yes, yes. And then finally, a little podcast called Lattes with Leia, which is hosted by Amy Radcliffe, who writes for StarWars.com and a bunch of other places. And she co-hosts this podcast with me. Can I mention something?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, totally allowed.
Always.
No, cut her off. Pull us off the air.
Well, you know, I figure 2 Star Wars geeky ladies who essentially talk about all the things they're into related to Star Wars, and we pick topics that are broader, like let's talk about relationships in Star Wars, let's talk about costumes, let's talk about, like this last one we just did was recorded a week ago, and we talked about what we're thankful for related to Star Wars. So how it connects us, how it allows us to have like healthy debates with each other. We can have disagreement about midichlorians or whatever. And we're still friends at the end of the day, right? Like there's an element about that brings us together. You can just meet someone at a coffee shop and they see a t-shirt you're wearing or your tattoo, and they're like, oh, you like Star Wars. So I think it's kind of a cool way to connect with others. So yeah, it's a fun podcast.
Excellent.
Awesome.
You should. One of my roommate missed Force Awakens because she was not in town, and she was with her family who are kind of not necessarily nerds like that. So she missed it in the theaters. So it was a good excuse for me to buy the Blu-ray. And so I showed it to her, and I was just watching it, and I just was like, all Ray ever wanted was someone to come back for her, and Finn came back for her.
Yep.
I was smushing my face the whole time.
Yep. It was a very, very important part of the movie, kids. A lot of people have been doing rewatches of Star Wars this weekend, because I think some channel was doing a marathon.
It's TBS, I think it is.
It's something with a T. Usually those channels with the T's like their reruns. It's true. And it's just funny seeing everyone have all those feels all over again, because it's been almost a year since we all had those feels and had those moments together. It's kind of trippy when you think about it. We saw it in 4D, and that was the best.
What's the thing with the...
Yeah, that was the second time we saw it. We saw it in 4D. So you're in a chair.
Water splashed you?
Water splashes you, wind blows, the
it's
chair
like soaring
moves.
over California in the movie.
Yeah.
Where was this?
At the it's a theater.
It's downtown.
Regal.
It's
Downtown. There we go.
Okay.
Yes.
It is not a cheap ticket.
No. Quinta B was there watching it. I was too shy to say hi.
Should have run up on her and be like, I love you.
I know. I like said it really quietly and creepily as I walked. Like, I love you so much. And then I walked away. So hopefully she heard.
She did.
I did that to Retta at Comic-Con. I didn't mean to, like 2 years ago. Like she was walking by, I went, Retta. And she was like, oh, I hope she didn't hear that.
Like, oh, that was really creepy.
That was weird. But I did tweet it, and I was like, I did that, and I hope that didn't weird you out. And she was like, no, it's fine. You should have talked to me. I was like, okay, yeah. But it was just weird.
No, like, I made eye contact with her like 4 times each time. I was like, Sarah, you're real brave. You say a lot of crazy shit. You can't just say hello to this woman? Nope. All right, cool.
Not gonna be able to do it.
Nope, not to do it. Oh, my body just turned itself around. But yeah, so seeing it in 4D was amazing, and I hope that there is a 4D.
I'm sure. Yeah, I saw Fantastic Beasts in 4D.
How was that?
It was alright. It was cool. I mean, I think it would have been different depending on what the movie is. And there was some cool stuff.
Like, were you like, without spoiling the movie, were you in a flying contraption for any of that movie?
No, but what it did was when there were different shots that zoomed, your seat would zoom, kind of like and do that.
Yeah, I could see that being like less exciting than I'm in the fucking Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, exactly. Fast and Furious probably also would be a great movie for that.
Man.
But like, yeah.
I want to do that. Yes,
but get your ass out of there under 4 hours, because if you go a minute over 4 hours, they'll charge you $17 for parking.
Okay.
Highway robbery. I'm still salty. Still salty. Anyways.
Still angry. It's another story.
Anyways.
Hi, we're on our main topic.
Main topic.
Heads up.
Heads up.
Heads up. This is all that Katrina says. By the way, guys, Katrina is sorry she couldn't make it. Family emergency, so she cannot be here tonight to say our heads up properly. So put some positive vibes and send them her way, please.
Yes.
For the holidays. So speaking of the holidays, these are going to be trying times. That a day does not go by on Twitter without me seeing somebody sharing tips about how to deal with the stress of family and with the way people are going to react to you. And just apparently a lot of people have a lot of thoughts and can get very negative about the holidays. If you're alone for the holidays and you feel like you shouldn't be alone because, oh, look, everyone else is having fun. All these commercials show entire families, and I'm here with my cat drinking alcohol. So we wanted to just basically do a mental health episode because we care about your mental health. And even if what you learned today isn't super helpful to you, it might be helpful to someone else. So feel free to share it, pass it on, and it could come in handy one day.
So we're going to start out with Andrea talking about her work, because this is kind of an area that you know a bit about.
I do.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, and you're not alone as you drink your.
I'm alone.
You're not alone. It's the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Kwanzaa. This time of year, toward the end of the calendar year and starting with the new year, there are a lot of I would say individuals who feel even more anxious, depressed, isolated, alienated, away from their family, feeling less than. All sorts of things tend to culminate around this time, and I believe that the tension and the stress of what we're dealing with politically and socially, I think is just sort of enhancing that. Mm-hmm. I've talked to numerous people who didn't spend the holidays with their family, or didn't spend Thanksgiving with their family, or who are not planning on spending the holidays with their family because of that tension and the disagreements that they want to avoid. And some folks are just saying, I'm out. Like, I'm just so stressed. I'm so tired. I'm emotionally so exhausted from all this that I don't really want to participate in what's typically festive and celebratory and about giving. Like, I've given. I don't have anything left to give.
I'm drained. There's nothing left.
Yes. Yeah. So I think it's really wise for you guys to think ahead and really plan for that, because a lot of us are going to be in this situation. And so one of the things that we certainly, I'm going to skip around because I know you have some topics here, but self-care, of course, is one of the things that I think is super important. And I want to take away the guilt from folks who are thinking like, well, I want to piece out of this for now, or I want to kind of limit my exposure to family, or I want to limit the events, I want to limit that white elephant gift exchange thing that I want to do. Like, I don't want to go to the employee or career job thing. And that's totally fine. Right. Because you want to be able to be your best you. That sounds, very cheesy, but what that means is that the more that you expose yourself to the stress, to the tension, to the comments that could either trigger you or raise some issues for you, that is going to impact your mental health for sure. Right. So I encourage people, I invite people to kind of not to blindly step out of things and isolate, because that's not good for us, but to kind of really think mindfully about the decisions they're making. So if they do decide to socialize or to join something, what will they do to take care of themselves in those situations? Right. Does it mean that when certain conversations or topics come up, they kindly, gently leave those conversations? Does it mean that there's a family member that they will, actively ignore?
The opposite of active listening. Yeah. Active not listening. Yeah. It's a great technique. Yeah. I've not learned this technique because I active yell. But no, I do want to address one of the things you just said. It is self-care, and I think a lot of people mindlessly think, I have to go home for Christmas. I have to go home for the holidays. Okay, but why? If it's going to stress you out more than not going, if it's going to make you feel sad or angry or feel like, any of the range of emotions that family can make us feel, because family just know how to get under your skin in certain situations, if you're over 18, you don't have to go. And if you need some excuses, I prepared a few for you. My job would not give me vacation days. My plumbing is broken and I have to be there when the plumber gets there, and this is the only day that the plumber could do. I'm very sorry, but my landlord has asked me to stay and guard the house from robbers, and alien invasion is always my final go-to. Just in whatever city you're in. Hopefully you're in a different city from them. That can be a little confusing. Okay, sorry. Carry on.
No, any way for you to communicate that. Those are all great reasons, I think.
My cat is trying to get in if you hear any strange noises, by the way, everyone.
So that's the important thing, is sort of not just the, and there's an overuse right now of self-care. I feel like that's happening a lot in social media and in sort of like broader conversations. Self-care has sort of become this I don't know, reified construct, and I think it's important to remember what it's about. Everyone has their individual self-care plan. I tend to think in Batman terms. So I say, we all have our own utility belt. So what's in your utility belt could be different than what's in my utility belt. I may need to do some relaxation exercises. I may need to do a little bit of reading, or a little bit of, reading comic books, or reading something that's about fantasy, sci-fi, to kind of get out of the situation. Other people are a little bit more like proactive. Maybe they need to go to an event and protest. Maybe they need to make a phone call to a family member and really express their needs. Different ways for us to manage our emotional states, and that's fine. I think the bottom line here is that you take a moment to pull out your utility belt and assess, like, what do I have to utilize when I'm feeling stressed, when I'm feeling depressed, even when I'm feeling suicidal? What are the ways in which I can, what does Batman do? He gets himself out of trouble, or he helps other people. And I sort of think we're often in that situation. Do I need to get you out of a situation as a bystander, as someone who sees that you're hurting? And when do I get myself out of trouble? And so I look for the ways in which I can do that.
So you bring up the utility belt and saving other people. So I know, especially in the nerd community, we have a lot of people who feel like they're outsiders, but we have built kind of our friendships up through various means, meeting at cons, doing Twitter, whole thing. So when you can see someone is visibly hurting, or you have a sense that they're hurting, like, what are things that you can do to sort of intervene, maybe in a gentle way? Because not a lot of people.
Sarah ain't got the gentle, so I need this advice.
So
Sarah threatened to kill a cat once to get a friend to back away from some things, so I need the help. Hey, as far as I know, it worked. I didn't have to kill a cat.
Good. No cat killing.
I would never kill a cat. It was an empty threat.
I think, that's a great question. Again, going back to our own self-care, we all have individual needs, and I think when you're concerned about a friend, and there are going to be different levels of that relationship. If it's someone very close to you, you can probably reach out directly and have a very direct conversation. If it's someone who's not close to you, but you are seeing some signs on social media or maybe in person and passing that person may not be in their best place, I think that is going to moderate the different ways in which you'll interact, different ways in which you'll be proactive about this. But I think that it's interesting that we're reluctant and we're nervous about it because of the stigma around mental health topics, because of the shame and guilt that we worry that they'll feel because of the shame and guilt we feel. It may stir up some business that we have, because nobody's perfect, and so we may be feeling a way that reminds us of our past trauma or our past difficult times, and so how are we going to be helpful when we're put in that place as well? So the first thing that I would offer is just the honesty and the genuine offering of help. So again, thinking about the way in which you know that person, can you find a way to privately ask them how they're doing and if they're okay and what they need? So going back to kind of what their needs are. Do they need to talk to somebody? Do they need a hotline for crisis-related things? Do they need a therapist? Do they need to reconnect with a family member? We don't know that. We just know that they're in a bad place or that they're possibly hurting. So it sounds kind of simple, but asking them, hey, how are you doing? I've noticed this. What can I do to help you? And those open-ended questions are the best way to approach someone who could be in a difficult place.
Mentioned destigmatizing healthcare, which is one of the things I want to talk about. I think we have a problem at large about not wanting to ask for help, and also just looking down on people who may have a few, things happening, but it's just kind of, how do we help destigmatize this thing? Because it's, there's nothing, I'll admit it, I've seen a therapist before. I'm incredibly introspective, so I'm not sure how much it helped, but it might have just been the person.
You're like, yeah, I know all that.
Well, yeah, just kind of a thing where like I talk about stuff, and then she just wouldn't, and then I'd be like, well, because it's probably because of this, and then she'd be like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, at least, but it was nice to have some confirmation
Pretty soon
about
you're
that.
helping her.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly.
See, I had anger management, and you'd be like, so why are you angry? Mom, ain't that what I'm here for? I don't know. This person said a thing. It made me very angry. Okay, so why are you angry? I feel like that's what you're supposed to help me understand, but I'm a child, and this world is harsh and cruel. And he was like, that's fair. And I'm like, shit, now I'm more sad. God damn it. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. So, yeah, I think there's no stigma.
No.
The last person I went and saw, I can never remember how to say. Is it psychiatrist or psychologist? I don't know. But anyway, the last person I went to see was sitting there taking notes on me because I've told you guys before, but I donate my eggs, and you have to take various tests to see if you're a fit donor, and one of them is a mental test.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
I felt like I was really judged when I mentioned that I didn't smoke. She was like, wow, you're a control freak.
That is
wait,
not
what?
right.
I was like, she's like, everyone smokes. I'm like, lady, I thought we were supposed to have a good time. We just sit here talking about minutes.
Was this the 80s? When was this? Were you a time
This
traveler?
was like
This
a
is
few
so
months ago.
confusing.
She's like,
Everybody smokes.
wow,
It's fine.
you're the one place I'm supposed to go and feel like some non-judgmental stuff happens.
Oh, that's bizarre.
So anyway, I
Yeah.
know you asked this question to Drea, but I also think that the answer is talking about it. I think the more that we talk about mental health and say things that, we've experienced and stuff and show that we're comfortable talking about it, I think it will help other people be comfortable too.
I agree completely. I think we should be talking about it. I think that we should have the truth out there, which sounds, I don't know, I think there are misconceptions, there are lies. No, I'm kidding. There's some stuff out there that isn't true. And so I think to clarify the misconceptions, to try to disseminate the facts, to have folks like me in the mental health field be responsible for clarifying things, for communicating the truth, for making available resources and strategies. I do not believe that people should be in the dark about this. I do not believe that some people should get care and some people should not get care. It doesn't matter where you're from, how much money you make, what your background is, what your category is. Everybody should have access to mental health care. And so I feel a huge, that's sort of my voice, is like anything that we can do on our end to communicate that, to answer questions. Social media is one way in which I think we can do exactly what you're talking about, which is to just be open and describe our experiences. And we know, for instance, through enough research and through enough work in this area, that at least 1 in 5 people have a mental health disorder at some point in their lives. That is a lot of people. And so to normalize that and to just raise the commonality of that, to understand that, most of those conditions and disorders are treatable. There are effective treatments and interventions. Sounds like some of the exams and assessments for certain things may vary, but I think that it's important for those who have the stories to tell them, and for those who have the questions to ask them. And hopefully we can get enough information out there to improve the whole system.
You mentioned about the affordability thing. I know that's a big one for my geeky friends. I don't know why this happens, but we tend to be poor. I don't know, what are we just busy being journalists and living our lives freely and just doing what we want, and then we're barely making it monetarily. All of us. What are we doing? Maybe we should play less video games. Anyway, the point is, I have had friends say, I don't think I can afford a therapist. Are there any things that someone can do and they don't necessarily feel that they can afford.
For sure. That's a great question. The first thing I tell folks, if they really want to have an in-person therapist, locate their closest university or college, because often they'll have like a clinic there where folks who are interns or associates, like they're learning how to be therapists.
Right.
And some people may feel like, well, I don't want to see like a newbie, but that person is being really like well guided and supervised by a seasoned person. So
compared to that lady who told me I was a control freak, she's probably been out of school 20 years. Anyway,
Exactly.
sorry, a little bitter.
So you can find a low-cost clinic, usually at most universities and colleges, so check that out. You can also check out women's centers. Most women's centers will have a mental health component, and typically those are either low-cost or income contingent centers. And then if you are willing to go digital, first of all, I know there's a lot of talk about this new service or app that provides you with like a therapist you can call, but they're not therapists. They're unlicensed people who talk. And I can't remember the name of this app, but that's probably good. I don't want people to look for it anyway. But right. I think with the just the expansion and the opportunity and the availability, there's now apps and programs where you can call people and they can chat with you. I think that we should always question those types of services when you're not speaking to a licensed professional. Right. So I'll put that out there. But I think there are some great apps that that are free. One is called My3. And My3 is an app that allows you to, here's right here, so you can basically store your 3 sort of like support people. I have 2 apparently. I should get a 3rd one.
Yeah.
And that's not a dog, that's my sister.
You don't have to explain to us.
Okay,
dogs are very helpful companions.
Like there's lots of stories of dogs saving people. It's cool.
So one's a dog, one's a person. So it stores, and I know people are like, well, this is such a simple idea, but when you're in crisis, you actually don't think to call your loved one. You don't think to reach out. But this is a nice kind of application that allows you to open it up, and it'll give you the contact info. You can text them, you can call them, like whatever you need to do. And then there's the direct line to the National Suicide Prevention line, so you can call that, and they're open, 24/7. Those are trained crisis professionals who can talk with you and help you to just to get through an immediate mental health crisis, and then link you to some services. So an app like that, I think, is a great way to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Speaking of that college thing, just a reminder that if you ever need dental work, that also works really well. I got like 4 of these bad boys filled up at college. They paid me because I had beautiful cavities.
That's awesome.
They said, tell me my cavities were lovely. So we've talked about the holidays. Are there any things?
Well, I didn't want to talk about. I mean, because you, of course, do your podcast in which you psychologically analyze Batman the Animated Series episodes. Is dope.
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
Because I've been talking about that for a while. I'm like, sorry, I'm going to go on a tangent.
Yes.
But if we accept that those Batman movies, the newer ones that came out, where all the other villains aren't dressed as villains, they're just normal people with slightly wacky things going on, and Batman's the only one dressed as a bat, then I become very sad. Because Batman is the story of a man who is incredibly mentally ill, and we need to be taking care of him, and instead we're just watching his little adventures as he flies through Gotham. This is horrible. We should rethink our lives. How dare we take joy in this man's suffering? Okay, so hey, what's the podcast like?
So when I was 12, really,
not
12? Yeah. Where are we going?
When I was 12, I loved the animated series when I was growing up, and there's a bunch of stuff that happened between then and now, which I won't go into. Got a PhD, became a psychologist, blah, blah, blah. Now, so now what I do is I have a podcast that analyzes Batman through Batman the Animated Series. And so what we do, my co-host Brian Ward and I, we take each episode and we don't do a full recap because those exist. Those podcasts exist already. What we do is we kind of give some facts, and he's a DVD and Blu-ray producer, and I say he's like a human Wikipedia. Like basically he's kind of more like a human IMDb. Because you could be like, who's that? And he's like, that's this like person who was born this year, was in this movie, that movie won an Emmy, he just... So he kind of covers a little bit of the history of the character or characters in the show, gives kind of the fundamental background and the context, and then I choose maybe 2 or 3 topics related to psychological science and try to just provide some more information. Now with Batman, a lot of those topics are going to be things like trauma, PTSD, depression, alcoholism, social isolation, relationship problems. I mean, once Harley was introduced, domestic violence, more relationship problems. The Joker introduced all sorts of interesting kind of like personality versus mental health issues. And we talk about mental health, like mental health disorders, but we also broaden it to psychological science. So we can talk about head trauma, memory disorders, torture, what torture can do to you. We talk about dreams and dream analysis. Like we really try to have a wide array of topics. Awesome. And it's so much fun. It's a ton of fun. I love doing it.
Yeah, it's an excellent podcast, and you should all listen to it constantly. But with that, I was kind of talking about using arts as therapy. So music, movies, drawing, whatever, because a couple weeks ago after the election, she was saying she's getting on me for being general, but the thing I said was things that make you happy, because I felt like everybody.
Why do y'all think these have become a thing again?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Because art therapy.
I'm just gonna try to open it better for you.
It's fine.
It's fine. Nobody's gonna see it anyways. I mean, half the people are whatever. It's fine. Google it. But I feel like people might think of it as frivolous, but I feel like it's a thing that can really help stabilize you. It's kind of maybe a shorthand.
Are you talking about the art?
Well, even this is a great example. Yeah, like when you see people, we joke about this all the time. We're like, oh, grown-ups coloring books now. But like, this is a meditation. Coloring is a meditation. Like, it feels great to relax. Like, I do it at lunchtime sometimes. I do it at lunchtime sometimes. You know, it's stressful. I'm angry. I'm upset. Things have not gone the way I want. And suddenly I'm not paying attention to any of those things because this cat needs to be purple. I think it's great.
I agree. I think one of the reasons why these coloring books and some of those strategies have become popular is that they're somewhat affordable, right? Mm-hmm. Like, these books are a few bucks each. They're affordable, they're accessible, you can carry them around. Mm-hmm. And research is showing that coloring mindfully in a book like that with cute cats does help with your focus. Like if you're listening to something, or even if you're taking a course. When I teach, actually, I hand out Star Wars coloring pages and colored pencils, and I invite the therapists I work with to color while they're listening, because it helps them to not just focus better, but also to process the information, to just get into, it kind of fosters the learning process, and I absolutely endorse it. I think it's a great strategy.
I wish somebody would have told my teachers that. Why are you always doodling while I'm talking? Shh, I don't even know what I just doodled, man. I was listening to you. There's a bunch of hearts here. I think I'm in love. Continue your topic. Yeah,
there's a period in time in which I would doodle stick figure disaster scenes. Yeah. It wasn't like anything, it was more for comedic effect, but I understand that could be disconcerting to some people.
My mom used to get angry at me because I always drew characters with their arms up, and she was like, that means you're feeling a lot of aggression, or you're feeling attacked, and I'm like, Mama, I just can't draw shoulders. Shoulders are very difficult to draw. Or like I said, I draw hearts a lot, but I draw them with kind of holes in them. And it's not because I'm feeling any kind of way about love or emotions. It's just very hard to draw a symmetrical looking heart. So I have taken out all of the pressure from needing to draw a perfect heart, and I make it imperfect. What's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. And you can take it to the next level, because as we know through comics and through superheroes and their narratives, there are lots of lessons to learn about resiliency, getting up after you fall. So starting kind of in a simplistic way, the understanding of overcoming hardships, right? And then more complex things, which I think Marvel does a little bit better than DC, honestly.
Shots fired.
Depending on the era, she's absolutely right.
Yeah. I have no arguments.
Where it's not just about experiencing a traumatic event and overcoming it, it's about having identity struggles, or having or wrestling with your membership or with your you know, your development of your identity versus the community that you're in. I think there are lots of more, I don't know, I think nuanced stories like Miss Marvel.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah, I think like the primary, because, you know, I'm primarily a DC fan, even though I've gotten more into Marvel.
Same.
Yeah. But I think it's a difference of like aspirational versus sort of relatability. Mm-hmm. Not that you can't relate to DC characters, it's just that they're showing you after something has happened, you can do this, versus Marvel where you're in the thick of the thing that's happening.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I always looked at it.
Anyways. Yeah, Miss Marvel, and then Hellcat also is doing a really great job with that, and capturing the feeling of being a young adult on your own too, which I think is really important. That's what Hellcat, you know, Miss Marvel, she's younger, she's still with her family, so it's dealing with family and community and things. And then Hellcat is like, I'm trying to be responsible and on my own, and I keep getting fired because I'm really useless. And it's like, oh, this is so relatable.
Yeah.
You know, it was like when Angel was on back in the day, and you were like, I've grown up from Buffy, I'm not in high school anymore, and I'm alone in Los Angeles, and this is a terrible place. So yeah, I can see how art impacts that. And guys, I just want to take a moment to say, you may have noticed, like, Tamara and I kind of being almost quieter than normal during our main topic, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to bring Drea here. Is this is a topic we know so much less about than all of the other geeky topics. So thank you again. I just want to take a moment to be like, thank you for coming here and educating us and helping us to understand this a little more, so we can also help people.
Yes.
By telling them to go to the professional.
Exactly. Always go to a professional.
And coloring books.
And various other.
Were there any things that we didn't address from like the aspect of mental health that you think should be brought up before we wrap this one up?
No, I think we covered a lot. I think we covered what's important, which is to be it to the level that you're comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Ask questions. Try to seek the answers. Try to be open. I think maybe what's another thing that we can maybe add is mentorship or guidance from folks who have had experiences. Like, it's better if they're more high profile, but they don't have to be high profile. So for instance, Supernatural, I'm blanking on his name.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Jared
yes.
There you go.
Yes.
So he has been really, open about his bouts of depression and about what he's gone through. And because he has such a loud voice, more visibility, the ability to reach more people, I think that he, certainly, I really applaud him for taking the opportunity and the time to just disseminate that information, just his experience. But we can all do that, right? Mm-hmm. When you've been to a therapist, or when you've tried an app that helps, or, maybe you watched or listened to this podcast and you're like, oh, this is helpful, I should share this with somebody. I think as long as we're sharing that information and guiding others, I think that's another thing that could help.
Definitely. And for geeks, because I know most of you listening are geeks, Will Wheaton also discusses depression a lot in his blog, and Felicia Day talks about various mental health things. I think anxiety is more her focus when she does discuss it. So if you need to see that some of your heroes are also, battling through these sorts of things in the trenches alongside you, definitely check those out. And what I really appreciate about Will Wheaton is that he's very fallible, and he's very aware that he's fallible. So being able to admit, like, hey, I thought this thing, and it was wrong, and now I know it's this thing. So just want to let you guys know that. I really appreciate that from people, because you can be perfect, and that's cool, but most of us aren't. But being able to see a problem and fix it and try to do better in the future is extremely admirable, in my opinion. And something that we can all really learn from. So I think you should check those out.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay! Mental health is okay, girl.
Yeah. So I'm happy that you were able to join us.
Thank you.
I'm happy that we were able to do this before the holidays, because we do care about everybody, and we want everybody to be okay.
Care about you. It's a front.
She's the Batman and my Superman. Or actually, technically, I'm Wonder Woman. We had this discussion before.
I'm like on a rooftop somewhere just doing this. Be like, I don't really care about you, but I'm watching you through those motherfucking binoculars because I do actually care about you. That's me.
Yeah.
I like that.
But
you do need a Superman.
I don't know. I think
I guess Wonder Woman is Superman, but
yes,
better.
But
so
better, yeah, in certain ways. So yeah, because I still want to hug you. Like, I want to hug you and help you, and I want to have. Well, see, the reason why I felt to Wonder Woman is because she could talk to animals and could have animal companions, and that's all I want.
Right, and as you do.
As you do.
Mm-hmm. I could probably talk to bats.
But can you? You kind of can't.
Everybody can talk to bats, first of all.
Well, you can talk to them. I don't know if they'll understand you.
Correct. That is to say,
yes.
I can have communications with bats. I can understand. It's like when I told my mom that I put cat whisper on my resume. She said, "What are you going to do if they ask you to prove it?" I said, "I'm going to whisper to a goddamn cat." Didn't say they whisper back.
No.
So tell everyone where to find you, plug yourself, things they should check out, all of that.
So, but first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to join you, and I appreciate and applaud you for spending the time with this as a topic. So, thank you. Is there some kind of hand gesture for thank you? Or
we should come up with one right now.
I don't know.
Hand jive. Thank you.
So, thank you. And if folks want to talk to me, the best way is Twitter. I will likely respond on Twitter. And my handle is @ArkhamAsylumDoc. And my podcast is the Arkham Sessions. You can find the Arkham Sessions on iTunes. You can find it on my website, underthemaskonline.com. Our Twitter is @ArkhamSessions. And we're also on IMZ. If you go to IMZ, which is a kind of an up-and-coming community, just look up Arkham Sessions there.
Awesome. Cool. Boom. You can catch us next week on iTunes, YouTube, or allgames.com. You can follow us on Twitter @WomanUpShow. Tamara, where can they find you?
You can find me @MisfitsTamara on the Twitters and the Instagrams.
And you can find me, Sarah the Rebel, everywhere. Look for it and it's there. You'd be surprised. You should follow us on YouTube also.
Yeah, do that thing.
This is a thing. Just search us, because our YouTube channel name is Z1CH1077777896, and that's not really easy to remember. That's not what it is either. I lied to all of you. Please, you guys are really impressed for a second though. I felt like
what?
I felt it.
I think this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right at all. I was just on there.
Go to the search bar, type in Woman Up Podcast. It's a long story. Apparently our name is too long, but also too short. It's just very complicated. So the more people that follow us, the more pressure we can lay on YouTube to cut it out. So yeah, that's where we are. That's where she is. We'll see you next time. But remember to always party down and woman up.